A nation's sovereignty is defined by its ability to control its borders. It is the most fundamental duty of any state to decide who enters, who leaves, and who must be turned away. But as we approach the end of 2025, the United Kingdom finds itself facing a perfect storm that threatens to overwhelm this critical infrastructure. On December 20th, a staggering 803 migrants crossed the English Channel in a single day, braving winter seas in a desperate surge that has pushed the yearly total to over 41,000. Simultaneously, the very force tasked with securing these borders has walked out. Border force officers at major hubs like Heathrow and Gatwick are on strike, leaving the gates of the kingdom perilously unguarded during the busiest travel period of the year. This is not just a logistical nightmare, it is a systemic failure of national security. Welcome to the British Lens. Today, we are conducting a deep dive analysis into the crisis unfolding at the UK border. We will move beyond the chaotic scenes at the airports and the beaches of Dover to examine the structural weaknesses that have allowed this situation to reach a breaking point. We will dissect the convergence of record migration numbers, industrial action, and alarming security breaches, including a report of a man boarding a flight without a passport. Is the UK border simply bending under pressure, or has it already broken? And what does this loss of control mean for the future of British security and social cohesion? To understand the magnitude of this crisis, we must first contextualize the geography and the history. The English Channel is one of the busiest shipping lanes in the world, a narrow strip of water that has historically served as Britain's moat. For centuries, it was a barrier against invasion. Today, it is a porous frontier. The phenomenon of small boat crossings is relatively recent in its current scale, exploding from a trickle in 2018 to the tens of thousands we see today. This shift is driven by a complex web of geopolitical instability, the operations of sophisticated human trafficking gangs, and the perceived effectiveness of UK asylum policy. The situation is further complicated by the labour dynamics within the UK's public sector. The Border Force is the uniformed law enforcement arm of the Home Office, responsible for immigration and customs checks. Their decision to strike over the Christmas period is not merely a dispute over pay, it is a symptom of a demoralised workforce that feels under-resourced and overstretched. When the people paid to protect the border feel that the system is unworkable, it is a warning sign that the machinery of the state is failing. Let us analyse the specific data points that define this current emergency. The surge of 803 migrants on a single day in late December is statistically significant. Winter crossings are typically lower due to rough seas. That such a high number of people attempted the journey suggests a level of desperation or organisation that defies seasonal trends. This surge has pushed the 2025 total to 41,455, surpassing the previous year and approaching the record highs of 2022. This indicates that despite new legislation like the Border Security Act 2025, the deterrence strategy is not working. The criminal gangs orchestrating these crossings have adapted, treating the channel not as a barrier, but as a toll road. Simultaneously, the strike action by the Public and Commercial Services Union, the PCs, has removed a critical layer of defence. With approximately 1,000 staff walking out at key entry points, the capacity to screen incoming passengers is severely degraded. The government has deployed military personnel and civil servants as contingency, but they lack the specialised experience of career border officers. This creates a vulnerability gap. It is in these moments of chaos and long queues that bad actors, smugglers, or fugitives find their opportunity to slip through the net. The warning of wait times reaching 90 minutes is an inconvenience for travellers, but the real cost is the degradation of security screening standards to keep the lines moving. Even more concerning is the report of a major security breach at Heathrow, where a man boarded a British Airways flight without a passport or ticket. In the post-9/11 world, where aviation security is supposed to be watertight, such an incident is inexplicable. It suggests a complacency or a procedural collapse that goes beyond staffing numbers. It points to a failure of the multi-layered security system that relies on technology, biometric checks, and human vigilance. If a man can walk onto a plane undetected, what else is moving through our airports unnoticed? We must also look at the maritime dimension. The strike affects not just the airports, but the maritime officers who patrol the channel. These are the units responsible for intercepting small boats, rescuing migrants, and gathering intelligence on trafficking networks. If their operations are curtailed, the UK loses its eyes and ears on the water. This creates a blind spot that traffickers will ruthlessly exploit, pushing more boats into the water knowing the chances of interception are lower, or that the response time will be slower. From a political perspective, this crisis is a disaster for the government. The Home Office has labelled the strike shameful, trying to shift the blame to the unions. However, the public ultimately holds the government responsible for border security. The inability to stop the boats has been a long-standing failure of successive administrations, but the combination of a porous coastline and a paralysed airport system creates a narrative of total loss of control. It emboldens political extremes and erodes trust in the state's ability to perform its most basic function. Let us project the potential scenarios. In the short term, we are looking at a chaotic holiday period. The pressure on the e-gate system, already cited as a point of failure, could lead to system crashes, forcing manual checks by skeleton staff. This creates the perfect conditions for a significant security lapse. If a high-profile suspect enters or exits the country during this window, the political fallout will be immense. In the medium term, the record numbers of migrants will place an unsustainable burden on the asylum system. The UK already faces a backlog of cases and a shortage of accommodation. An additional 41,000 people entering the system requires housing, medical care, and processing resources that simply do not exist. This will lead to the continued use of hotels and temporary facilities at a cost of millions of pounds a day, further fueling public resentment and social tension. In the long term, this crisis signals the need for a radical rethinking of border strategy. The current model of interception and processing is reactive and overwhelmed. A sustainable solution requires deep diplomatic engagement with France and the wider European Union to stop the boats before they launch. It requires dismantling the business model of the gangs through intelligence-led operations that target their finances and logistics, not just the pilots of the dinghies. We must also consider the international context. The UK is not alone in facing migration pressures. Europe and the US are grappling with similar surges. However, the UK's island geography presents unique challenges and opportunities. The failure to secure the channel undermines the argument that Brexit would allow the UK to take back control of its borders. Instead, the border appears more chaotic than ever. The convergence of these factors, the surge, the strikes, and the system failures, presents a clear and present danger to the stability of the United Kingdom. It is a stress test that the system is currently failing. The risk is not just political, it is operational. Every boat that crosses unstopped and every passenger that enters unscreened carries a potential threat. To conclude, what we are witnessing at the UK border is a breaking point. It is the cumulative result of years of policy paralysis, underinvestment, and geopolitical shifts. The silence of the government in offering a concrete solution is deafening. We cannot accept a status quo where the border is open to the highest bidder or the most desperate voyager, while the lawful mechanism of entry grinds to a halt. The British lens exists to bring these critical issues into focus. We refuse to look away from the hard truths. The security of our nation depends on a border that functions not just in theory, but in practice. We need you to demand better. Do not let this crisis become the new normal. If you found this analysis valuable, subscribe to the British Lens. Share this video to spread awareness. The conversation about our national security starts with you. Stay vigilant.